Well, unfortunately, my husband died in a car accident. What I did not know, if this secret that he's been holding deep inside for a long time, well, I found out everything. Forgive me if this is a little disjointed. I'm still reeling from trying to wrap my head around my current situation. My husband passed away very suddenly recently, and in the week since his passing, I've discovered that he was keeping huge secrets from me. In going through our financial information, I've discovered a multiple credit card in his name, mine and the kids' names that are maximum balance, 2 sets of loan papers from different banks for over $20,000, paperwork that says our mortgage is 4 months behind, and a ton of other things that I can barely make sense of. From what I can tell, his business has not been making any actual money in over a year, and our savings accounts are drained. There's evidence that he's been using some gambling website and lost thousands and thousands of dollars. I've been a stay-at-home mom for our entire marriage, and he owned his own business, so he handled everything with the money. I have no idea how to deal with any of this or what to do. I know I need a lawyer, but our accounts are pretty much empty and I'm at a total loss over what exactly to do. Are there any free legal options I can look into? I've tried to call a bunch of lawyers, and all of them have said that they won't give any advice or counsel over the phone. Am I liable for all this debt, even though I did not consent to my name, and certainly not my children's names being used to open credit cards? I feel like an idiot for being this uninformed, but I'm completely unprepared to deal with this, and I'm terrified we're going to lose our home. Or worse. I never in a million years dreamed he would do this to us. Can anyone point me in the right direction, please? What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. We find ourselves in a very bad situation in this story. There's complete updates, and let me just tell you, it gets spicy. We're going to hop into that, but if you don't know, there's a third channel now on the brand. It's called Mr. Reddito Office Dramas. It has all sorts of dramas that you can imagine from the workplace, colleagues, bosses, Karens, you name it. Still daily videos on all 3 channels. You can check out the links in the description below, and here's your update. First of all, thank you to everyone who commented and gave me advice. I'm sorry I did not respond on the other post. I was just completely overwhelmed. I still am, really. But I did read every comment and message, and I appreciate everyone that took the time to comment. I was able to find some legal help, and we're working on sorting out the mess my family's in. Things were far worse than I've even known when I made the first post. Altogether, the debt that was accumulated is close to $500,000. At this point, I have no idea how much I'm going to end up being responsible for. The lawyer has said it could take years to sort this kind of stuff out. No matter what happens, though, we're going to be losing the home. I'm working on finding us somewhere to stay before they actually foreclose, so we don't get evicted, and have that on my record too. I want to try to answer some questions now and advice people mentioned in the post. I have 3 children. So that's why I kept saying we in the post. The older 2 are from a previous relationship, but I've contacted Social Security to get benefits started for my youngest. Thank you to the user who mentioned that. My husband's business was a computer tech repair company he ran by himself. He had a few people he would call in order to help with larger jobs, but 95% of everything was him solo. The last year or so, it appears he wasn't doing any actual work, and there was no money coming in. He took money from the business to cover what he took from our personal accounts, and then took out loans to cover the business and just peed it all away on gambling and other illegal activities that have come to light over the past few weeks. Sorry to be vague, it's just embarrassing and hard to talk about. To the people who said that maybe the crash was intentional, it is looking increasingly like that it was. Nobody else was involved. His car went off the road and hit a tree. He had life insurance before, but he stopped paying the policy months ago. I'm in contact with the police about the credit cards in our name and other things that were discovered. All in all, things are looking really bleak at the moment, but I have faith and eventually it'll work out. I have a few leads on jobs and have picked up a little temporary work here and there the last few weeks so that we have something coming in. I've signed up for food stamps and Medicaid, so once that goes through, it'll be a bit of help. I applied for AMHA as well, but they said the waitlist can be a few years, so that's kind of a long shot. Someone has suggested asking family and friends for help, or loans that they absolutely would help me if they could, but none of them are in the financial position to help. My sister will hopefully be able to let us stay with her just temporarily until I can sort things out and get us back together. She's my only living family and has been my rock through all this. So yeah, I guess that's that. Thank you all again for listening and helping. If anyone has any more suggestions on trying to pick up the pieces that I haven't thought of, or I could just appreciate more advice. Update number 2, 6 days later. First of all, sorting things out did not take nearly as long as we thought it would. Things ended up being a lot more straightforward than it first appeared. I'll be filing for bankruptcy probably early next year. I've talked extensively with the lawyers and weighed my options, and that seems like the best way to move forward at this point. 90 to 95% of the debt should be discharged with bankruptcy. So that's a good thing, although it is a bit bittersweet. We are losing the house. We'll be moving on November 30th, and I'm worried about the bankruptcy/credit issues with trying to rent a new apartment. However, I'm now on the list for PMHA housing, and from what I've heard, the wait is not long at all. We ended up not being able to count on staying with my sister for longer than a week, thanks to her jerk landlord. So I'm trying to find something else in the meantime. I have a few options to look into. Honestly, I'm not that sad about the fact that we have to move out of the house. The old place is filled with tainted memories now, and I think it'll be good to get a fresh start. I've been assured by the police and many lawyers that because of the criminal nature of opening the accounts in the children's names, we should be able to get the credit cleaned. That one might be a long road, but we'll get through it too. My applications for Medicaid and food stamps came through, so that is some definite stress off my shoulders. I made the girls and myself an appointment at a family counselor, which we'll be going to next week. The lady at PMHA housing was very reassuring and very sweet about my situation, and she made it sound like I was pretty much a shoo-in as soon as the place opened. Last but not least, I listened to many people that told me to make a post to inquire about help with Christmas for the girls. So hopefully we'll be able to find some holiday help, and that'll be another huge load of stress lifted off my shoulders. I want to thank everyone who messaged me and offered words of encouragement and support. I can't even begin to tell you how much it means to me and to know that I'm not alone. I never imagined posting here to be an empathetic and caring source of comfort, but it turns out that's exactly what it is. Thanks again, guys. Final update, 1 month later. Hello, everyone. I wanted to give one last update to my situation since many of you reached out. This has been a whirlwind the few weeks, a lot of change, a lot of stress, and a lot of hard work. As difficult as this has been and will still be to go through, I'm feeling more positive than I have in months. The legal issues are being dealt with as best they can be for the moment, and we're looking at filing bankruptcy early next year. It's scary to think about, but I do know it's our best option, and things will work out in the end. We moved out of the house almost a week ago. It feels very bittersweet, and the girls are having a difficult time, but I know they will adjust, and I really do think a fresh start will be the best thing for us. The girls, they're each in individual grief counseling, and we began family therapy. I'll be making an appointment for myself as well, something so many of you encouraged me to do. Some of my good news now, we're able to find a permanent place to live, with a very sweet landlord who's so sympathetic to my situation, and has previous experience with the welfare system, and has bent over backwards to help me through all the red tape. We'll be moving again into the new place at the end of the month. Hopefully, that'll be the last time we have to move for a very long time. My second huge piece of good news to update you with, I got a job. I'm now working full-time in an office of a company that's owned by someone I met through my post here. She contacted me after my last update and offered me a trial run. I started this past Monday, and so far so good. I'm incredibly humbled and grateful to her for just giving me a chance. That brings me to my third point, and really the reason I'm making this update. I wasn't sure what to expect when I first reached out for advice. I just felt so overwhelmed with the situation, and I think I just mostly wanted to not feel alone, and to connect with and talk to people who do have some understanding of what I was dealing with. The response I got from all of you has been astonishing. The advice, the stories, that dealing with similar stuff, the encouraging messages, and the fact that you all literally saved Christmas for my kids. And a new freaking job! And just the empathy and kindness you've all shown me and my family is so far beyond anything I expected, that I don't even know the words to express how grateful and humbled love it is to feel. It's going to be a long, tough road, but I have total faith that things will be okay and that this is the large part due to the advice here. So, in closing, I want to say thank you. Thank you to every single person who reached out to me in any way, shape, or form. Thank you for lifting us up and helping us through this. You guys have saved me in a million different ways, and I will always be grateful. I hope you have the merriest Christmas. Let's refer to one of the comments in the original thread. I can't imagine putting all my trust in my partner and then facing disappointment and betrayal at every turn after his maybe suicide. And won't that be fun to tell the kids when they're older? But at least she seems to have landed on her feet, and hopefully she's been able to heal alongside with the children. This whole thing is horrifying, however. I'm glad to see people here being so helpful and kind to this woman in her moment of need. Guys, I could not agree more with that comment. Drop a little positivity in the comment section for OP, maybe some advice, maybe a similar situation you want to share. The next story we're going to look at today is titled, My friend who has chased married men before may now be into my husband. Guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you're missing out. There's a lot of updates that come out for these stories. You can check all the channel descriptions in the link below. It has Mr. Reddito Animated, Mr. Reddito Stories, and Mr. Reddito Office Dramas. So make sure you subscribe to those three, and let's jump in story number 2. When my friend first got together with her ex-husband, she was in a serious relationship with her then boyfriend, and he was married with children. Long story short, they both left their relationship and had a shotgun wedding. 3 kids later, he left her to move to another state. Surprise, surprise. The ex-boyfriend she cheated on is now married, and guess what? One day, she saw him online, so she texted me and said maybe it's a sign from the universe that she should talk to him. She asked me if he's happy in his marriage, and I told her, well, he seems happy, and she should just stay away. Apparently, she was not happy with my answer, so she asked my husband the same question. Again, my husband told her the ex is very happy. Recently, she's been bombarding my husband with random messages of spirituality. She would just send him a paragraph after paragraph of random thoughts, even though sometimes he would go on days without replying. When he does it, would just be a simple, "Hey, I'm busy with the children," or even a swear word. And then she would just go on again. She somehow figured out my husband's birthday and asked him why we never celebrated that. Well, maybe because it's private. My husband never celebrates with friends. And text him to question him on what he has against weddings, and then gave him reasons why weddings are great. We had a small wedding and she was not invited, so maybe she thinks that we just didn't have one. My husband did not respond to that question. One day, she texted me to see how I'm doing in my marriage. I told her it's not as romantic as before, which is fine because we're focusing on the children. Then she mentioned how she's fine by herself and said I can find someone else romantic too. I tried to dismiss it like it was a ridiculous joke, but she just would not stop. The next day, she tried to bring it up again. My husband and I were going to move, and she asked me if that's what I wanted. I could sense that she was trying to make me doubt my husband again. Unluckily for her, that was actually my idea. In the days that followed, she sensed something was wrong and even tried to explain herself, and how it's not in her place to suggest I leave my husband. She said how she was actually talking to a guy, and explicitly say that it was not my husband, as if that would exonerate her, a known two-timer. Then she said she would not bother my husband again. But then she did not stop. She's now sending my husband paragraph after paragraph of thoughts again like before. My husband responds to her sometimes because he thinks that she needs someone to talk to. They also sometimes exchange investment ideas because, well, it's their common interest. He's worried about her mental state and that if no one talks to her, she would harm herself. My husband knew my friend long before we were together, so I did not mind their independent friendship. But I suspect now she's pursuing something more. And here's a mini update after the first post. Thank you for those who replied. At first, I thought I was paranoid for thinking that my friend's out of line. However, not one single person says that it's platonic, or that she's going through a divorce, so cut her some slack. The answer was simple. We need to cut her out of our life. I confronted her yesterday, and she dared to reply back and said how those spiritual messages were supposed to help my husband treat me better. She made it sound like she had no one to talk to besides him, while there was at least 10 other women from our group, including me. I told her that she needs to see a therapist, and he is not her therapist, and she said that she'll talk to herself, and she can be her own therapist. I've had enough and sent her one final message. You need to understand that there are boundaries with married men, and your past behavior indicated otherwise. Let me be clear. There's no place for you in my marriage. I thought it was good enough to keep her at arm's length, but my sister told me no after reading this post. Both my husband and I were just so blind. My husband has a very low opinion of her, and she's no threat to my marriage. However, she can still drive us apart, and I'm a working mom and have no time to monitor the situation. So, we both blocked her. It's over, and I'm relieved. So this whole time, I was just wondering to myself, why did the husband not block this girl? Well, maybe one of these commenters is onto something. Considering OP was still calling her a friend, despite knowing her obsession with married men and this chick harassing her husband. I think this couple just gave people way too much slack. Let me know, guys. Do you think that OP let this get carried away a little too long? Or should the husband have put his foot down and said, I'm blocking her? Guys, the third and final story is coming up, and let me just tell you, it's a wild one. It's an Am I the A-hole story. Am I the a-hole for asking my sister to fix her overgrown two-toned hair before my wedding? I'm 26 and my wedding's in 3 months. Both my sisters, Sadie and Olivia, are my maid of honors. My wedding's going to be elegant and big, as groom and I have a lot of friends and family, and we've always dreamt of an extravagant wedding. I have a good relationship with both my sisters. However, my youngest sister, Olivia, has made the process a bit difficult as a bridesmaid. I chose a light dusty pink for the color of the bridesmaid dresses, and let the girls pick what style they wanted. Immediately, Olivia says she's going to feel insecure as she's so pale, and the dress will make her look red. Well, I suggested a spray tan, as the color of the dress has already been set in stone to match the rest of my wedding, but she said absolutely not. I didn't hear anything else about the dresses, but now I'm in a predicament with her again, and I'm not sure if I've made a mistake of making such a big deal of this. Olivia regularly highlights her dark brown hair with blonde for years, but decided about a year ago to grow it out and let it get healthy, meaning no dye. A month or so in, her hair did not look terrible, more like a balayage. But now we're around the year mark and her roots are straight up brown, and there's a straight line, no blending. or blonde for the last 8 inches of hair. Olivia has insisted she has her hair down during the wedding. However, I don't want her roots and hair on full display during pictures, ceremony, and throughout the night. I love my sister and respect what she wants to do with her hair. However, her hair is an eyesore, and I've never seen anyone let their hair look like this for quite some time. I told her I would pay for anything she wanted to do to it, as long as her roots were at least a bit blended for the wedding. She says that she does not want to put any more chemicals on it and is leaving it, and I won't change her mind. I told my hairdresser about Olivia's point of view, since we go to the same dresser, and she told me that there's plenty of things she can do for her that can make her hair look blended and still be healthy. Well, Olivia refuses, despite me offering to pay and telling her our hairdresser said she can make subtle changes and preserve her hair. I should add that her hair's not breaking or fried. She simply wants a break from dyeing it to get it as healthy as she could and grow it out. This day is one of the most important in my life, and having someone in my wedding party with unkept roots is something I don't want. I'm not asking her to cut it or change the color, just blend/transition the colors. She's irritated because my other sister and mother have told her that she should change it for the sake of not ruining pictures. So, am I the a-hole here? Okay guys, so I'm gonna be real with you. 99% of the commenters in the original thread are all saying, OP, you are the a-hole. Let's just read a comment from one of them. Look, to be completely honest, if your wedding pictures are the most important thing in your life, to the point where someone else's hair color is going to bother you enough to fight about it, you really need to reevaluate your life priorities. It simply, truly just does not matter that much. Guys, let me know. Do you think OP's just being a bridezilla, or does she have something up her sleeve about why she doesn't want her hair colored? Guys, drop your thoughts, comments, and maybe a similar story you would like to share. Thank you so much for tuning in, and Mr. Reddito will catch you in the next one.